we have yet another federal agency trying to claw back its workers and bring them into the office. These are people that were identified for layoffs. They had RIF notices. They're on administrative leave, a lot of them, due to legal proceedings. Now the agency is saying, hey, we need you to come on back in. And this isn't the first time this has happened. Won't be the last time either. In 2026, we will continue to see actions like this take place across the federal government. But what's a shame is there's little to no pushback on why this is happening. Why was a proper assessment not done within the agency? A workforce analysis to ensure that when you make cuts, it's to benefit the agency, not to have to turn around just in a few months later and ask these people to come back. Now, this is happening specifically in the education department, which is one of the top vilified agencies throughout the entire federal workforce. Education has been targeted nonstop, 50% cuts, last we heard. The Trump administration wants to dismantle this agency. So rest assured, these are temporary fixes. This is not a long-term, come on back, join forces, let's serve the American public again. This is nothing like that. Now, we're specifically looking at about 250 workers from the Office of Civil Rights. These people received RIF notices earlier this year, and this shows a U-turn. And we're talking about people that are not GS7s. They're not GS9s. These are investigators. They handle discrimination in schools. So when there's a civil rights issue with discrimination, they're handling the complaints, right? What happened is the complaints started to pile up. Legal deadlines were missed. That's why the agency is looking around. It had to have been pretty painful for them in order to request workers they already identified as being laid off. So if you're one of these workers, if you go back to the office, you already have the idea, the understanding that the leadership within the agency, they don't want you there. Maybe your own supervisor doesn't want you there. To go further on this is not one of the main hiring categories that exist. Because if you've been paying attention, you understand that federal hiring has largely been limited to three areas: national security, immigration enforcement, and public safety. None of those three categories fits an investigator, a civil rights investigator. I mean, you could try to say public safety, but that's probably not correct. And you can't just hire new warm bodies to come in and take these roles. There's a learning curve. It takes 12, 18, 24 months to have somebody come into an agency and to actually understand, to gain proficiency and to know what they're doing within that agency so that they can produce some value. A lot of times people are shadowing one another until they build up that proficiency. So the bottom line is this decision, a lot of people are saying, came from immense backlog. The agency is drowning in cases. But you know who else is drowning in cases? It's not just the education department. Look at SSA, the Social Security Administration. There's over 1 million pending disability claims right now. The agency receives over 6,000 calls each and every day. Then you can take a look at the VA. Over 300,000 disability claims. That's what their backlog looks like. And OPM itself has tens of thousands of retirement packets that they have to process. So there's a backlog there as well. What's coming up here shortly? We have tax season. We have the IRS. They're going to be dealing with potentially millions of amended tax returns. They need a staff that's prepared. You know, ideally you would like a staff with high morale. If you ever led a team, I don't care in what industry, it could be private sector, military, federal government. If you ever led a team, you understand the team performs better when the morale is high, when there's collaboration, when there's teamwork, when there's motivation. And the question is that the environment of the IRS, of the education department, of SSA, of the VA? Are they motivated? Is the morale high? Obviously it is not. The IRS has gone through links to hire more, thousands more. And this is coming from an agency that pledged not to hire anybody in 2025. IRS was on the naughty list when it comes to hiring actions. And they're hiring right now. They're hiring clerks today. So if you're looking for a low-paying, unstable job where the agency is not going to appreciate any of your efforts, and you want it temporary, go on to usajobs.gov and find that clerk position and apply, because they need you. Now, how are they going to treat you after you come on board? That's an entirely different subject, but they need you today. The IRS needs people. Okay, so what happened here? We had federal agencies that decided we're going to cut by a third. And, OPM, we're going to cut by half. Education department. Then they realized they have a legal obligation. Their responsibility and legal obligation doesn't go away. It doesn't disappear because you get rid of the workers. It's still there. And then what's next? The expectation is for the workers that remain to assume additional duties, to assume other responsibilities, so their workload goes from, let's be generous, let's say 75%, but now it goes to 150%. At what point does burnout hit? At what point does attrition hit? Regardless of what happens in the education department, it will still take an act of Congress if you want to completely get rid of it, if you want to remove it completely. It is not something that the president has the authority to do. Now, is there appetite to get rid of the agency in its entirety? I don't think so. We have conservative lawmakers that actually appreciate and support the education department. So can you find a majority in the Senate that agree to get rid of it? Probably not, especially looking at 2026 being a midterm year. It's not going to happen. Now, another take on this is, well, maybe they don't want these people at all. Maybe this is part of the strategy. You have workers on admin leave. A lot of them probably accepted another job. Once you're on admin leave 4, 5, 6 months and your agency is getting rid of you, there's a high probability you're applying to jobs. You're going on interviews. You're trying to accept something better. So could this potentially be a way to call people into the office knowing that they might have another job already, so that they force a resignation out of the federal worker? Could be. That could be a strategy to get people off the books quicker, because outside of that, you're going to be waiting for legal proceedings. It's been taking quite a long while here lately. Most people I talked to that accepted the DRP, the Deferred Resignation Program, or people that were placed on admin leave, they've moved on. Now, whether that was for more pay or less pay, that's a different conversation, but they moved on. And it was very few people that actually just stuck around in limbo, didn't do anything, or they enjoyed themselves, they enjoyed their time, and waited to the absolute last minute, the last month, last week, and then they started scrambling. And in that situation, the chances are it's not good. You're not going to find something. It's a hard job market for everyone. Now, the people that have done quite well, they looked at state government, county government, and they've also looked at defense contracting. And the people that are in areas where the economy isn't as strong, where basically you're left with, you have a Dairy Queen, you have a 7-Eleven, and then you have, a Walmart or a Target. There's not much action happening over there. There's not much possibilities. They've relied on that VA clinic or that military base or that post office, whatever the case is. The chances are, if you live in a larger city, there are more opportunities. There's more competition as well, but there's more opportunities. In addition to this, the OPM is currently under a lot of pain. And that is unfortunate, because that is the HR of the federal government. Their OIG, their Inspector General, did an investigation, pulled out some details, pulled out some facts, constructed a report, and it kind of gives you a vision on what's to come in the future. When it comes to federal hiring, when it comes to the OPM, what do we have in store? So if you're a federal worker, or if you know one and you want to know more about that, check this video out next. Stay updated by signing up to the free newsletter down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.